Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another FlyJSim live stream. Today, the 15th of June, 2021, 33 minutes past 4 in the afternoon here in the UK. We're in X-Plane 11, back in the excellent FlyJSim 737-200, the classic. It's been a very long time since we've flown this aircraft. I think we've abandoned one somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But I thought we'd actually go back to... where we're going today. I can't remember where we're going. What's the name of it? Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik, because we flew there a couple of weeks ago, and I really wanted to fly the circling approach, which we didn't have a chance to because the wind was very much favouring the easterly runway down there. However, today they've got a nice strong westerly runway, so it's the circle to land approach. This is a circle to land with visual prescribed tracks, relying on the Dubrovnik VOR and a couple of NDBs as well. And I thought there's no better way to kind of show off those sort of instant flying skills, which are really rusty, than flying an aircraft which is purely reliant on that. So we're going to be flying the 737-200, INS navigation, VOR navigation, all the way there. No FMCs, no cheating, anything like that. We'll see if we can get there nice and safely as well. I hope you're all doing very well. Here we are in Nuremberg, our departure point. The scenery, I think, was Aerosoft. I purchased it not too long ago because we had a VATSIM event into here flying in the 757. It was a perfect departure out airport, about an hour and 30 minutes. A beautiful day here in the middle of Germany as well, and we should be expecting some beautiful conditions flying over the Alps today as well. Hello, Danny Rubel. He says hi. Captain John Padfield's here as well. Are we already using the emoji? We haven't even taken off yet. I just briefly forgot where we were flying to. Nothing to worry about here. Hello, Tim Fraser. Good afternoon, mates. Happy birthday for next month. Sorry, I couldn't say happy birthday to you as did any other Tim this morning on Discord. Hello, Morgan Swan. Hello. I'm just finishing a test flight today's route, expecting strong winds for landing. Yes, it's looking like it's a little bit blustery there as well. Oh, look, a Jow. Right. Well, it didn't take long. Well, I might be going straight off VATSIM in a second, by the looks of it. Unbelievable. Let me just get his CID code. Unbelievable. Yeah, I think we're logging off, guys. Fine. No problem with that. We might log on later. We'll see what goes on later there. Anyway, we'll try in a second. Here is the FlyJSim 737-200, looking excellent with its cigarette engines. It's been are they JDATDs or something? You've got to be so careful managing these because they can flame out if you add too much thrust or take the thrust off too quickly. You can have a right nightmare doing that there. Who else we got here in chat today then? Hi, Guy. He says, thanks. Not sure why YouTube fails to process the renewal every month. I can see you've joined as a member again. Thank you for your time as a member. Over a year now, guys, so thank you very much for that. Nate Plays FlyJSim are making their Q4 XP. I'm well aware. We'll be looking forward to flying that when they finally release it. This aircraft hasn't had an update for a while. I was testing it earlier, and yeah, it's great and stuff, but the flight controls are very wallowy. You know, there's a bit of a delay with the inputs as well, but it's still a pleasant aircraft to fly, very rewarding to get from A to B as well. Christopher Davis is here as well. JB Trip Reports, MC Crewfish, also from Nuremberg. I hope you're doing very, very well. Right, let's now spawn on into the flight deck. I'll say spawn on. Look, we'll actually climb up the attached air stairs. There we are. Into the cockpit we go, just like that. Oh, there you go. Smooth as ever. Airborne Hedgehog. Is it weird that I like the look of the turbojets more than the fans? They are awesome. They're loud, noisy, polluting, smelly. Black smoke comes pouring out the back. There's nothing wrong with liking those more than the new turbo fan. Oh, he's so excited that he's actually joined as a member. So welcome on board Airborne Hedgehog as a member. Thank you very much. You'll get invited to our members only Discord. Enjoy using the custom emojis in chat, and yeah, thank you very, very much indeed. Right, so completely cold and dark. I've done a few big things in the background which I could do, which was like set the QNH, set my courses and my frequencies for departure. Really nice SID as well today. So we're going to be departing off runway 28, and we're going to be using VORs, radials we need to intercept as well, and then we'll be utilising INS for most of the sector. But the routing I've chosen today, I'll step through it shortly. The INS waypoints are also VORs as well, so if we screw up the INS somehow, we can still navigate conventionally, which is pretty good. Right, let's get the aircraft powered up. We need to get the GPU connected first, so that's over here. You can hear it clunking in, very loud in fact. Turn that down a little bit so you don't have to listen to that noisy diesel generator for the rest of the flight there. So batteries on, GPU. Oh no, hold on. The battery is not on. Just actually can knacker it by doing that. There we are. GPU's on the bus. Electric hydraulic pumps are on. I'll open the ground interconnect switch as well. Landing gear lever is down. Only the 3 green lights here. There's no backup lights in the Classic, unfortunately. And then we check all the aircraft documentation and the ship's library. I'll just try VATSIM one more time, just in case that was a genuine mistake. Someone has happened to install or spawn on stand. Let me start again. Spawn on stand in a JAL. Well, there is another aircraft there. Well, yeah, we'll just disconnect. It's really sus to have a JAL, but someone's come on my stand anyway. We'll do the whole setup. There's no ATC anyway, and then we'll depart and then go from there as well. Alex, so you forgot to return online on VATSIM. Yeah, we'll see about that. So batteries on, GPUs on the bus, electric hydraulic pumps, landing gear lever down, and then we check all the aircraft documentation. Let's do all the fault and fire tests. There we are, we've got the 3 squibs, and we also have bottle discharge lights, which are a little bit different. I love all these kind of taped up fire handles. It's it just shows you the age of this aircraft. It's really, really cool. Let's do the fault test. We've got APU detector in op, engine overheat lights are illuminated. Master caution overheat detector as well. Here comes the fire test. There are 3 fire warning lights, and the fire warning light there, the handles are illuminated as well. So that is all looking good and complete. Emergency exit lights, you can armed. Fasten seatbelt sign is on. I've already pre-fueled the aircraft, so if I have a look here at our operational flight plan, hour 32-minute flight time, needs 7 tons, burns a little bit more fuel than the NG, so 2.5 tons an hour. We'll take an extra 30 minutes just in case I screw up the circle, plus that also uses a bit more fuel anyway, so we'll call it 8.2 on the fuel, just a nice extra 30 minutes. And if you have a look here, you can see fuel 8295, there we are. Full load of passengers, 92, and the CG is pretty much smack bang in the middle here. Very popular, the sector. Alpaca Airways Classic on our inaugural flight from Nuremberg to Dubrovnik today. Robert, good to see the 737-200s are still being used in Canada. Yeah, is it Northern Air or something? They fly up to a gravel airstrip or something. There's a few other operators as well. Still a few of these floating around, which is quite incredible, really. Connie says I should use that as a ringtone. Yeah, it sounds like school bell or something like that. It's fantastic. As John Padfield said, school's out, absolutely. Let's now continue with the rest of the setup. So, fire tests we do there. Fasten seatbelt signs on, MCP's set, flaps are up and matching up on the flap indicator position. There's no order brake for the RTO. We'll be loading up the INS shortly. Trim set for departure already. Cargo fire test. There we are. Same sounds. Rudder and aileron trim 3 and 0. Circuit breakers are all in behind the first officer. Up onto the up overhead panel here. So flight recorder checked. Stall warning. Test. That's alarming. That is non-dispatchable. We need a little bit more oxygen pressure for both the, I guess that's for crew and passengers there. Yes, we'd have to hold your breath in the event of a rapid depressurization. I don't think there's a way of me increasing that, unfortunately. Thanks for subscribing. Chanarong Danke Deng, welcome on board, buddy. That's a hard one for me to pronounce. Samuel Butler, you wouldn't oversleep if you had an alarm like that, that's for sure. You'd be straight up, that's for sure. Rest of that set, we check the emergency escape ropes, circuit breakers are all in on the skipper's side, and yeah, we'll keep the door open for boarding. Oh yeah, look at that very retro paint scheme we have in the cabin. Right, let's load up the FMC. Right, let me just try VATSIM one more time. Again, it could be that someone's there, but the second there's a disruption or anything of any sorts, we're out of here, guys. We're out of here. Orky says get everyone to follow this guy on flights. Oh. Okay, right. Everyone loves my stand! Oh dear. Right, that's it. Give up. Give up. Why is everyone spawned on my stand for? Right, so batteries on, GPUs on. Right, we've done that. Weather. So I'm going to choose the local QNH, which is 1018. So 1018 is set on the primary standby altimeter, Jim's, and the standby also set here 1018 too. Matthew, true story is a UFO. I accidentally got the mask stuck in emergency mode and nearly purged all the O2 out of the crew bottle during boarding. Yeah, I mean, you're the CRJ you fly, don't you, Matthew? I mean, that's a bit alarming. When we test the emergency on ours, we just have to make sure the crew oxygen doesn't drop. But yeah, if you held it down for long enough, it'll obviously all go. Whoops. Pete, I think you may have just spawned on him. Yeah, maybe, but Jowl 737, that's very suspicious. And on my stand, I mean, I was literally I logged on to FlyJSim about 10 minutes before the start of the stream, and then, yeah, if someone's going to be on my stand like that, it's only possible causing problems. Right, so now it's time to load up the INS, guys. We'll talk about the departure routing, everything shortly, and go from there. So here is the INS, a little bit about our routing then. So here we are in Nuremberg. So we're going to be departing off runway 28. The SID will be flying through called a Rodis 3 kilo, so it's a 180 degree turn towards this waypoint called Rodis. And then we'll be heading southeast. Try and get this right. So we've got here Austria, Slovakia. Is this Slovakia, I think? Or no, Slovenia, Croatia. And then along the Adriatic. Really nice flight here. Today. On the test sector, there's an issue with the tile, the ortho tile around Zadar, so that's a default tile now. I regenerated it, but there was loads of problems there. So we'll now carry on with the rest of the setup. Let's go here to standby. We need to rotate the switch here to position, which it's already in. So we need to find out our coordinates. We're on stand 32 here at the moment, so let's have a look here at the Nuremberg charts. So stand 32, it's a remote stand on this sort of November Mike 2 loop facing south here. So what we need to do is find our INS coordinates. Stand 32, there we go. Right at the bottom, so we just need to tell the INS where we are. So what I have to do here, I'm going to actually extend the speed brake just to get it out of the way, because it's a bit annoying otherwise. Just have to remember to stow it before we take off. Right, so stand 32 is north 49, 29, 8, insert, and then it's east 011049, 01049, insert, so that's done. We can now rotate this to align, start the alignment process, and we now need to start the waypoint program. There's only 5 waypoints to program today, so not too many, and the waypoints we are programming are, as I mentioned, all VORs along our route. So let's go here to charts. First one I want to program is the end of the SID, which is at Rodis. So these are the first coordinates. So Rodis, there we go. So north 49.285, 49.285, insert, and then it's east 011.570. Insert. Waypoint number 2 is the Salzburg VOR. Here it is. North 48. 002, insert, east 012536, 012536, insert. Waypoint number 3 is the Bistrica VOR, which is up here, there we are. North 45, 33.9, insert, east 014.103, 014.103. Insert. Penultimate waypoint then is the Split VR. So we're in Croatia now, so that's north 43.29.8. Insert. East 016.183, insert. Last waypoint then is Nera, which is the beginning of the arrival on the star. So once we get here, we can actually route convention, which is pretty cool there. Nameplates took me a year to figure the INS. Yeah, I actually watched some other tutorials. There's a really good SIVA INS manual. Now I'm pretty proficient with it. I know how to route direct to waypoints that are programmed as well. Yeah, it's just the way it was used to navigate initially, back in the 60s, I think it was, when it was sort of introduced into aircraft. Very clever system. You can just work out, you basically tell it where it is, and it works out using the Earth's rotation. You tell it your position, and it can work out exactly where you are. Self-contained as well, which is really, really impressive. Right, nearer then, north 42.54.3, insert, east 017 32.6. We are inserted, so we have all the waypoints programmed. I sort of cheat here by pushing that, which completes the alignment process. If you go here to STS 005, rotate that to nav, there we are. So the INS is all ready to go. First waypoint then, 33 miles away, and then obviously the time, we're not moving, so it's 99.9 there, looking good. T3 Buron says, I love the aircraft, but I don't think I'd have the patience to set it up. Yeah, but it's very rewarding once you know what you're doing and getting it all set up there. So the INS is programmed. We've got our 5 coordinates in. Let's do a panel scan up here. So flight control spoilers are on, and all the switches where we want them to be. Yaw dampers on. Compass, you want it slaved to the magnetic north, I believe, but you can synchronize it. It doesn't drift once it is synced, I believe. I'm talking out of my backside here because it's been so long before I had to do this. When I did my hour building in the States as part of the integrated course, they had 2 warriors. They had a warrior where you had to keep the DG aligned to the compass every 15 minutes, but they had one which you could slave as well, which required no updating, which was really cool. So anyway, that's slaved. Nav and compass and vertical gyro switches are in normal. No fuel in the centre tank. So fuel pumps aft and forward on, check the cross-feed valve, bright, dim, bright and off. Haven't got the fuel temperature modelled, apparently it's -1, so it must be very cold in the tanks under the ground there. Hi John Mark says, hello FlyJSim in chat. Scott says, before they gave names to waypoints, would this have been how it was done, entering 2 coordinates for 1 point? Yeah, you would have given the latitude and longitude for latitude and longitude for each waypoint along the routing, or you know, a lot of airways back when this aircraft was sort of in its prime were based off VORs as well, so you could still navigate using VOR. But a lot of airways now, they're just, you know, you need an RNAV need RNAV equipment because they're not based off any ground-based navigation aids there. So where did we get to? INS panel scan, that was it. So that's all looking good up here. Galley power will turn on for now. Seatbelt sign on. Imagine the cabin's secure too. Window heat's coming on. Don't need the probe heat on now. Engine and wing anti-ice off. Isolation valve open. We're cruising at 33,000 feet today, which is pretty much our maximum cruise altitude, quite heavy. 33,000 feet. Cabin altitude will be 7,100 feet. Bear with me as I just check the elevation in Dubrovnik. It's about 500-600 feet. It is 527 feet, so I'll put 530 here. Cool, that should be on. I've set up our little basic Sperry autopilot and MCP for our departure, and the rest is all set to a takeoff config, which is also stowed my speed brake. Stab trim colour switches, I think they're in a normal position. They're not modelled by the looks of it, so we won't touch that. We did the cargo fire test, and frequencies are all set. Gareth Roberts, no TCAS. Yes, we do have a transponder here. Look, but there is a TCAS. You can change it here, but apparently, it was causing some crashes for FlyJSim aircraft. So I got rid of the TCAS display. We have a transponder, but we've got no way of seeing where traffic is on this aircraft. Matthew, so an FMS is not that far removed from an INS? Not really. I mean, you just have to put the waypoints in manually, essentially, and it works really well. Right, let's get the APU started. There we are, that's booting up. What's that doing? Listen outside. Charts ready for us. There we are. There he goes. Guy, what is an instrument comparator push to cancel? So I think if there's a difference between what the captain's and first officer's instruments or altimeters or settings like that, that light illuminates there until they're matched. So you can reset there. So you'll see if I start changing the pressure, you'll get the altitude comparator light come up because it's not the same as the first officer's. I think that's all it does, essentially. Right, so APU is quite ready yet. Why is the exhaust exhaust gas temperature really increasing still? Oh, there we go. I was getting a bit concerned by that. There we are, on the bus. You get rid of that noisy GPU. And we'll allow brief out departure. So we're going to taxi straight out. We don't need any pushback or power back. We're going to make a left turn onto... What's the taxiway called? Stand 32, Mike 2. Bit of a threat here. You can easily turn on to stand 30 instead of Mike 2 or go straight on here. So a bit of a hot spot there. You've got to be a little bit careful of. And then we're going to taxi hold point Alpha for runway 28. And here's our SID then. So contact Munich radar, immediately have to take off. SIDs are also noise abatement procedures. Strict adherence with the limits of aircraft performance is mandatory. So just basically stay on the SID and you know, respect the restrictions there. So we're going to be flying the Rhodes 3 kilo departure here. So we've got to make sure we've got the Nuremberg VOR tuned. Now you'll look down here and see 1575. So it's active both sides for Nuremberg. We need to wait until we're 2.9 DME. So we're going to fly overhead the VOR on the departure. And then when we're at 2.9 DME, so we'll see, we'll wait until that says 3 miles. We'll make a right turn onto a heading of 359 degrees. On that heading, we'll intercept the 254 radial inbound to Erlangen. Okay, so I've got 074 set already for that first course. I'll be using the tail of the RMI for our initial thing here to just make sure we're tracking 277. So it's already set up, and then on standby you'll see I have Erlangen 14.9 both sides. Overhead that VOR, right turn 107 outbound towards Moose, or Mook, not sure how to pronounce that, and then to Rhodes, so it's the same track there, outbound 107, and I've already got that set up Jim's side there. Oops, not right time, don't need that on. The initial climb clearance is to climb to flight level 70, so I'll imagine we've got our clearance, we'll put that to 70 there, and then, yep, we've already stepped through the routing here, and we'll level off at 70 of our ATC to make sure, you know, we're all happy with what's going on, and then we'll continue climb. Initially, I'll probably do this turn at 220 knots, so I'm actually going to bug our initial climb speed, which will be V2 plus 20, and you'll see on the performance calculator, take off flat 5 set bugs, I've already done it, so 35, 36, 441, I'm going to bug about 161, and then I'll be flying at that speed. It's NADP 1 departure here, according to the company briefing charts here. So what does that mean? We're going to maintain this speed until 3,000 feet AGL, so that's going to be 4,050 feet indicated. Once we're at 4,050 feet, we'll bug up, we'll accelerate to 220 knots, clean up the aircraft as well. Climb thrust then, initial climb thrust 97.4% N1, we'll then set, initial takeoff thrust setting 97.4, we'll then set climb thrust at around 1,500 feet AGL, so 2,500 feet, reduce that to 92%. Very important to FlyJSim. How realistic it is to the real aircraft, but the engines start to overheat and they might catch fire if you don't start reducing thrust, so it's something you need to be a little bit careful of there. Connie, does this have an auto throttle? No auto throttles at all, and as bodybuilder Muscle Champ said, fabulous reverse thrust on these babies. Yes, the buckets, we'll be using the buckets upon our arrival into Dubrovnik. Right, let's just double check to make sure we've got sufficient fuel. Yeah, 8 to 90, that's perfect, and I think we're pretty much ready to go, so AP bleed on. Guys, just based on the fact that I had some on a JAL aircraft on stand, let me just get rid of... let's just get airborne. I might log back onto VATSIM before we get into Dubrovnik. I'm just having a look to see if there's any ATC anyway. I'm sorry for the guys that want to join on VATSIM as well, because that does ruin it for everyone else, but if you're going to... You know, I just have a zero tolerance to pranksters or anything like that on the network at all. But I'm having a look here in Nuremberg. There's no ATC, so there's not going to be much more benefit apart from just people being all over the top of me. Right, so let's now imagine we've got our engine clearance, got our clearance as well to climb flight level 70. We'll keep the squawk at 2,000. There we are. Go from there. Thanks for subscribing, Alfredo. Welcome aboard, buddy. Backs off, anti-collision light on, parking brake is set, transponder out off. Better shut the doors, hadn't I? There we go. There's the air stairs retracting. Very funky the rear. Hi Vanguard, good afternoon. He says, I'll only be watching 30 minutes until I have to attend my weekly firefighter training in the evening. Just wanted to say hello. Hello Vanguard, good luck with your Firefighter training. That sounds very exciting. Excellent. That's cool. Looks like the door's closed as well, and you see all the lights are extinguished. Right, now let's start engine number 2. I think I just need to turn the galley power off. Otherwise it's pretty much identical to the NG. Right, so starting engine number 2. And I think it's just N2 slightly different for the fuel. N2 at 20% N2. We'll go straight outside as soon as I put the fuel in so you can listen to these glorious engines. There we are. 20% fuel coming in. There's the whack. And 8 place. Does this plane tell ground speed? Yes, you can use the INS. So on here, Nate speed, if you go to ground speed, there you go, you get all the ground speed information based off INS data. It's quite accurate. So yes, it's looking good. Starting now engine number 1. Listerman says no, that's incorrect Listerman, you can get ground speed. And 2, try and watch the engine instruments here. So I'd want oil pressure, yeah, before I start the engines. There we are, oil pressure. N1, the CGT increasing, N2 rapidly increasing as well. Chris is turbojet or a low bypass turbofan? Turbojet. There's no. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's no bypass with this. There we are. So we've got 2 low oil pressure lights extinguished. They looks like they're all stabilised. 2 good starts. Excellent. Right, let's do the before taxi flow. Generators on. APU's off. Start switch is continuous. Probe beat on. Anti-ice off. Close the ground interconnect switch. Packs on. Isolation valve. Auto. AP bleed off. And very important to put this switch into flight, otherwise the aircraft won't pressurise. Flaps. 2.5. Flight controls. Full forward. Full back. Left. Centre. Right. Centre. And here goes the rudders. Full right and full left. There's no recall on this aircraft, there's no blower DU to blank, and that's it. We then complete the before taxi checklist with match, which is complete. And we'll request taxi. That's done, so let's just make sure these sounds are okay. Hope they're okay. It's quite a loud aircraft, you have to always fiddle with the volumes here. So release the parking brake, just like with the NG, you can do a config check. So advance the thrust levers smoothly. Make sure there's no takeoff config warning. There's none, so slowly back to idle. And we're moving. Welcome on board. Someone from far away. Thank you. So you can see, look, we should have ground speed information. There we are, 9 knots. So there's that stand we talked about, so don't take that left turn, otherwise you'll be taxiing onto a stand, but it's the second left, not very clear. It's got a really nice approach as well today, proper instrument approach, circle with prescribed track. So unlike the timings, you don't use timings on this one, you actually use radials to initiate turns. As well. So we're going to fly the localizer only approach down to the circling minima, then break off the circle onto runway 29. Awesome. Taxi past. what a sound. It's awesome. Thanks again, Icefire, for the livery. If you'd like this livery for your FlyJSim 737-200, you can use the command !livery. Welcome, Vishesh. Right, best do the before takeoff checklist. So config we checked. Flaps 5 green lights, stab trim set for departure, so around 5 units set. Takeoff briefing. Packs on, bleeds on, V-speeds are set for departure. 134, 136 and 141, they're booked on the ASI there. So our departure then, for runway 28 is a Rodis 3 kilo, going to climb straight ahead 2.9 miles from Nuremberg, right turn 359, and then further right turn on the 254 radial inbound to Erlangen. Climbing to flight level 70, I'll level off at NADP 1, so we discussed we're going to be climbing at 4,000 feet. And that's it, checks are all complete. I imagine the cabin is secure. There we are. Guys, should we go to Dubrovnik? Imagine we've got our takeoff clearance. Let me just check the METAR here, see what the latest weather's doing. It's pretty much no wind. It's a beautiful day here in Germany. Surface winds 300 at 7 knots, so pretty much down the runway. Slight tiny crossing from the right. Let's go then. Don't forget the takeoff 200 feet plus flyby this time. I won't jam it, it'll sound awesome. Right. I said earlier there's no recall earlier, but there is. That's why I said that. Right, Toga's in chat, even though there is no Toga. Reynold Planks is sleeping. Good night. Lots of Z's. Right, there's no timer on here or no clock, so we're just going to make a note of the actual time. So it's 16:05 Zulu for the paperwork. 16:05 Zulu. Let's now go to Dubrovnik. What's that clicking noise? It's the parking brake. So when I brake, it sets the parking brake, unfortunately. Hold on. Before we get going, let's do the before takeoff checklist below the line. MCP set transponder, TARA, strobe lights on. That was a little bit premature of me, and weather radars on as well. Right, let's go. Just testing it, just testing it. There we are. Stabilise, set, takeoff thrust. 2.07. I'll do takeoff thrust sets, indications normal. Checked, reach forward pressure. Up we go then, 2 to 2.5 degrees per second. Now we're airborne and we'll pitch to maintain 160 knots. Positive climb, gears coming up. And trim. As requested. Sweet. So we're just going to wait until 2,500 feet. I'm going to wait for the needles to swing as we fly over the Nuremberg VOR. It's going to happen any second now. And there we are, so outbound 277. Going to set climb thrust now, 90%. Just going to maintain 160 knots, remember. And we're going to fly outbound on the 277 now until we get to 3 miles on 2.9. Just pitching to maintain 160. Hold and excellent. So remember, I'm using just the tail of this needle, not this instrument here at the moment. You can see how we're navigating. There we are. As soon as that starts flicking to 3, so they're heading a 359er. Buck up as well. All going off at once there. Right, so make that right turn. 359. Bug up. So we're at 220 knots. Set standards. Climb to flight level. 013. Flaps 1. Flaps up. So now we're flying on this heading. We're going to wait until we intercept that 074 inbound, excuse me, to Erlangen. There's a bit of a sharp intercept heading here. Need to now just switch over to Erlangen. There's the neo swing. Let's have a little bit of a better intercept heading, otherwise it's going to really struggle with that. Arm 4 lock as well. So approaching 1 to go. Accelerate to 250 knots. Just waiting for that V1 to come online. Just level off at 70 inbound to the Langen VOR. Start reducing that thrust now. Do the after takeoff checklist. There it goes. So we have got nav lock arms. There we are. So we're going to make that right turn to intercept the radio. Welcome on board, Hacken on Fulson. How'd you enjoy the content? You get invited to our members only Discord. We just turned all this down here. And enjoy using your custom emojis in chat as well. Thank you very much, buddy. There we are, so we're now established on the, whatever radar it was, 074 inbound to Erlangen. Just going to maintain 250 knots. There we are. And next thing, once we get outbound on the 107, well, in fact what we'll do, we'll start climbing now, so we don't want to be wasting fuel by being sat here. Best actually just complete the after takeoff checklist. Just take a bit of thrust off, just going a little bit fast. So air conditioning and pressurization is 2.5 diff pressure. Cabin altitude is slowly climbing this level at the moment. They can come off as well, as can the outboard text lights. So that is auto flight on. So that is set. Now we're going to go back to heading select briefly as we fly overhead the VOR. Get it all set up for our next outbound radial 107. Slightly as well. There we are. After takeoff checklist complete, we'll go straight to 330 cruise level. IS hold. We can just set client thrust again. Turn off that flight direct. So 90% N1. There's needle swinging as well. So we can give ourselves a little bit of an intercept heading. 92% climb for us set, so that's going to pitch to maintain 250 knots. That radial is going to come in any second. Oh yeah, ding dong, we need to release the cabin crew as well, yeah. There you go. Cut that corner a little bit too much, it's a bit naughty, you should wait until you're directly over here. But there it is, it's coming in now. Lock, and it's latching on to the VOR. It turns left then right, probably a little bit aggressively, so we're probably, there we are, it's sorting itself out now. I thought you said 107 outbound. Oh, it's one, yeah, sorry, 107, not 108. Please let me off Mark's chat. There we are. 100, we can accelerate to 280 knots, which is our climb. Best climb speed. Our pre-cruise check's coming up now. So fuel 4 pumps. Balance is all in pounds, unfortunately. So that's 17,000 pounds of fuel. Lights coming off. AP's off. Pressurization 3.6 set. Let's release the passengers. These COVID times not meant to. There we are. Recall. Jets complete. Dishant, what scenery are you using? If you use the command !scenery, you can find out all about it. That was Aerosoft scenery for Nuremberg, and then for Dubrovnik, it's one of the freeware ones. But again, I can't remember the dev off the top of my head. But this is all Ortho 4 XP as well. Now 280 knots, and now we're kind of outbound. You can work out distances. So if you want to know when are you overhead Moose, very simple. You look at the distance between the points. So it's 16 miles. We'll check it when we get to 16 miles. We should be pretty much overhead Moose, taking slant range into account. Alexander Galley, power on. Yep, just testing you and testing the cabin crew. They've just said, why is the coffee machine not working? Ah, there you go. Thanks, Alexander. John, can't possibly let you off for 1 degree, Captain. Very good. And then once we get to Moose, we'll switch to INS. Here it comes, 16 miles, let's check. Ta-da! I'm in Moose. And inbound to Rhodes. Now what I need to do for the INS is go to waypoint change 01. Just going to revert to heading select briefly here. Switch to GPS, even though it's not GPS, but to INS. Engage, no, Vorlock. There we are. We're now on the INS routing, flying direct to waypoint Rhodes. Excellent. Perfect. So far, so good. Lauren, need an "Are you a real barrister" emoji. Welcome. Priyatam Kumar, I'm over here due to ask a question to as a Greek pro pilot by career that in any plane do we have to set the altimeter on basis of QNH or QFE? Great question. QNH in Europe, pretty much everywhere. Military airfields generally use QFE, so the altimeter reads 0 at the elevation, but everywhere we fly into in Europe is QNH, so when you are on the runway, it reads the elevation. Thanks for subscribing, Daddy J. Airborne Hedgehog, do you have a tutorial video for this kind of VR navigation? I don't have a dedicated tutorial, but if you have a look at my playlists and have a look at any of my FlyJSim any of the streams in the FlyJSim playlist, pretty much all of them, especially the earlier ones, I only use VR navigation. I've sort of switched to using INS. You know, INS and VOR is sort of equally used.
30, 20, 10.
I use both. I'll tune up the VOR shortly on the second side so you can see what's going on. Thanks, Kieran.
Captain, the cabin crew have noticed a few microwave meals missing. Know where we might find them. Hashtag TLDR.
Well, Kieran, the cabin crew have noticed a few microwave meals are missing. Know where we might find them. We don't have microwaves, we have ovens. Joking. No idea, Kieran. Harvey, has someone stowed them or hidden them? I have no clue. Thank you very much for your donation. Very kind. Amazing. Right, anyway, there's our right turn by the INS. We're directly overhead Rhodes, so we can get rid of the Oh, no, 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 no! No! Why? No problems on the test sector. Perfect. Oh, don't do this to me. It's like half quitting. Oh, unbelievable. Right, what I'll do, I'll stick it on the runway. I've only just taken off, so... let me just get the log, just to see what happened there. I've had no problems for such a long time. Test sector, no changes whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, nothing going on at all. No changes, and it crashes. Right, let me just grab the log, guys, just so I can find out maybe what happened. I'll just stick it back on the runway. It'll only take me 3 or 4 minutes to reload it. You know, we're only going to lose a few minutes. Only doing 1 sector as well. So, let me find my log first. Enjoy the lounge music whilst we wait. And what I'll do, I'll take off on runway 10, just go straight out, it'll save a bit of time. So stream, just going to have a quick look myself. I'm not usually that great at working out what's happened. Oh, it says TCAS override. I think it might have done something to do with that TCAS. I'm not even on about it. Oh my goodness me, there was so much going on before it crashed. Right, I'm going to drop it in Discord, guys. Thank you so much for clever clogs, because it just says loads of stuff about TCAS. Anthony, at least it's not a real plane giving up on you. No, that's true. Right, anyway, I've just dropped the log, guys, in the channel. I'd just love to know what it was. Anyway, let's quit from Discord. Let me just reload X-Plane 11, and I'll start on the runway. It'll only take me 2 seconds to reload the INS. Hopefully, the passengers will be pretty much the way it was loaded before as well. Joseph, the TCAS plugin for the FlyJSim tends to crash a lot. Yeah, I know, which is why it's disabled. I actually don't have that installed. Tested it this morning, absolutely perfect. Alright, anyway, X-Plane 11's reloading, guys. Hacking lucky that doesn't happen in real life yet, true. Fusion, will you start flying the Microsoft FlyJSim 2021? The PMGG 737 comes out. Yeah, no doubt we'll fly that, but I'll be using both simulators moving forward, of course. Right, let's start on the runway here, runway 10 this time. We'll just take a slight tailwind, go straight out to the first waypoint. Confirm. This time, though, I want to have engines running. Oh, it might get a little bit dark for our approach as well. Guys, what I'll do, I'm just going to throw you to the Be Right Back screen, just whilst I get it all set up there, because I might have to shut the engines down to start again. But yeah, as soon as we start, we're going to just basically roll back the stream by 10 minutes, take off on runway 10, head off in that direction, and go from there. Sorry about that, these things do happen. I'll be back with you guys in around 5 minutes or so. Thanks. Thanks a lot, guys, for your patience. I think I'm all pretty much ready to go. So if you just joined the stream, what happened about 5 minutes after takeoff, sim crashed. Pretty confident. I was just catching up with the guys on Discord, what they said. It was related to X-Pilot and maybe the TCAS system, which we were actually discussing here. So what I've done, I won't use FlyJSim today, unfortunately, and I've disabled X-Pilot as a plugin as well, so hopefully what caused that crash won't happen again. Right, so what's different from our departure this time? Well, we're on the reciprocal runway, just so we can sort of, blast straight out. So if you remember rightly, we were just flying that SID, and we were directly overhead Rodders turning towards Salzburg when the sim crashed. This time, we're going to go in the other direction, so we're going to climb to flight level 70 towards the Rothenbach NDB, which is tuned and identified, 415, and then once we're there, a slight left turn to intercept the 091 radial, outbound from Nuremberg until we get to Rodders. So it's going to put us in exactly the same position. I've just quickly loaded the INS. The chances that I made a mistake is quite high. I put them in very quickly, but if it happens, it's not going to be the end of the world, because I have got conventional routing backed up with this INS waypoints anyway. So exactly the same. The only slight difference is, the passenger loads are a bit different. Annoyingly, when you load it up, it just does it randomly, and you can't change it unless you shut the engines down, open the doors. So the only difference is we have 75 passengers now instead of 92. The fuel, thankfully, is pretty much the same. We fueled with 8.2, and we have 8 tons on board now, so that's fine. Just slightly lighter than before. So yeah, that's it. That's the departure we're going to fly. I'm just going to quickly do the before taxi flow before we get airborne again, just to make sure we're all configured correctly. Hello, Alex Jones. Welcome aboard as a subscriber. So generator's on, APU is off. Right, should we all be on here? Probe heat's on. Anti-ice is set, so packs on. Isolation fan water, APU bleeds off. Flight 33,000. Yes, this has changed by the looks of it. So 7,100. And I think it was 530. I'll fine tune that later. We'll put 530 for now. Strobes are on. Start switch is continuous. Flaps are 5 green light. I think we're all ready to go. QNH is 1016, indicating the elevation. And NADP1, so we'll do exactly the same again, climbing up to 4,000 feet, straight to that NDB, and then we'll make that left turn outbound on the 091 radial. So pretty much all it, looking good, ready to go. Guys, Toga's in chat again. Let's try take 2 flying over. So now the new airborne time is 16, I call it 1630 Zulu, so 25 minutes after that crash we had there. Right, let's go then to Dubrovnik. Parking brake released. Engines all looking stabilised. Set takeoff thrust. 2 takeoffs for the price of 1 today. 2.15, looking good. Takeoff thrust sets indications.
80 knots.
Checked. Just forgot to set the standby altimeter, so you don't want to be doing whilst you're taking off. And I'll get Fly Live up in again soon.
E1. Rotate.
Up we go. There we are. We're airborne. Just going to pitch that 160 knots. Positive climb. Gears coming up. Oops. Set bugs. That's better. Trim. Nice. So climb thrust coming in. So I'm just following the RMI now, just firing directly to the NDB. Oh, it's NADP1 here, so we're going to accelerate at elevation here, 1,000, so 4,000 feet will bug up. There we are. Technical Raccoon, you like the sound of the engines? They are pretty smart. Assholes. Heading select. So now bug up, 250 knots. Set standard 013. Flaps wide. Oops, wrong. Flaps up. I'll imagine we've got a continuous climb to flight level 330 just to keep the show on the road. Still flying outbound to that NDB, you'll see. Turn it off a little. That needle's going to swing any second. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There we go, overhead the NDB, so just give ourselves a little intercept heading to intercept that 091 radial. Flaps up, no lines after takeoff, check this. They come off, they can come off. Brake would also go off, air conditioning and pressurisation, 2.2 climbing. Good here. And set. Flight. Altimeter standard set passing 6 for flight level 330, that's it, after takeoff checks complete. Nav locks engaged and we're now outbound on the 091 radial and we'll wait to overhead Rhodes. Well, actually, just prior to Rhodes, we'll go back to INS navigation. Hopefully I'm programming all correctly. There we are, checks complete. So, yeah, not too bad. If it was any time to crash, I suppose just after departure is probably the best time. Well, there's no good time to crash, but if you just imagine you had a 30-minute break for the PC,
50,
we're exactly
40,
where we left it.
30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Steve Mayer. You did well, buddy.
Hi boss. Thought I'd get my donation in before this one crashes.
Thank you very much, Steve Mayer. Very kind. Thank you so much for your donation. Continue support as a member as well, buddy. Very kind. You've jinxed it now, Steve. We'll blame you if it crashes. Not joking. Thank you very much. Indeed, very kind. Anyway. List a minute, it feels like real sim train. Right, let's do that again. Right, altimeter's passing. Flight level 100, 4330. Do the pre-cruise checks, accelerates 280 knots now. So, fuel, 4 pumps. Looks around the same as we had before. 6, 7, 8, 8.5. So that's £17,000 of fuel. Lights coming off. APU's off. Pressurization, diffs, pressure 3.6, climbing, auto flight. Leads on. Auto. And set. Passengers already released. This is the cabin. Recall. There we are. Checks complete. Right. So, continuing inbound to Rhodes. We'll switch over again to INS. Select and GPS, looking good. Full lock, and we're now navigating using the INS system. There we are. Bodybuilder got the meals half cooked before the crash. Unbelievable. Nardo says hi, Captain. Hello to you. Technical Raccoon knew it was more modern displays, but haven't been in a classic 737, unlike being in a 737NG cockpit. I think a lot of the classics flying around the 200s have been retrofitted now with FMCs and glass cockpits now. I don't think there's many around with these sort of classic instrumentation. So we'll maintain 280 knots until we're maintaining Mach decimal 74, and that's our cruise speed today. Ollie Crockett, that doesn't sound like Jeanette's. No, we've got two new voices now. So this distance here is based off the INS programmed waypoint now, so 8 miles away from Rhodes. First, en route VOR, we're going to be, after making this right turn at Rhodes, going about to the Salzburg VOR, so we can tune up that on Jim's side. 13.8. You'll see if we switch this over to VOR. There we are. It's already swinging. We got DME for the Salzburg VOR here, and we can sort of cross-check that against the INS, which is pretty useful. Ben, what takeaway is it tonight, FlyJSim? Yes, Mariana is currently... She's gone back to Portugal to visit her parents to get her passport sorted, so I'm home alone in the FlyJSim household. I'm sort of thinking of doing a bit of a Homer Simpson-esque house, you know, just put stuff all over the floor, eat takeaways. Listen, I've not had a single takeaway. I've been cooking fresh food. What did I have for lunch today? I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember what I had for lunch. Stew, which I reheated. It was in the freezer. So I had that, and then I had a steak last night. Engineering ice coming on. Let's go for a little bit of cloud. What is the tat? Yeah, just below 10 degrees. Hello, Gatwick Aviation. Hope you're doing well. Sadly, the clock shops are starting to disappear due to the retirement of a lot of classic procedures. Arrivals are now mostly GPS, from what I understand. Yeah, in Europe, Gatwick Aviation. I mean, a lot of German airports are RNAV, but thankfully, this SID that we just flew, they have two. They have it conventionally, and if you have a look here, what's the SID called again? A Rhodos 4 Mike. You can actually see they have the RNAV overlay. Basically, the exact same departure, but as RNAV waypoints here. So you can see that we flew based off the VOR, DMEs, and then they have the exact same thing for RNAV, DN282, 283, Moose. So the Germans like doing overlaid SIDs, so based off what they originally were, but that means if the VORs are inoperative or the NDBs are inoperative, you just fly the RNAV one. But yeah, Dubrovnik as well, the approach we're flying, they have one conventional arrival, which is the one we're flying today, but a lot of airports don't have any now. Technical Raccoon, what's your local time, Captain? Mine is 5:38 PM. I've had my dinner tea. It is exactly the same time here in the UK. Technical Raccoon, 5:39 now, and I haven't had my dinner. I'll be having it after this stream. They are, so inbound to Salzburg now, 85 miles to run. Bodybuilder Muscle Champ, well, he can have one of the 17 spare meals we have on order now. Is that the difference between what we had originally before the sim crash and what we have now? Bolin Louis, the 732 is the Jurassic 737, that's it. That's it. External view here. See the HF wire. Oh yes, FlyLive's not here, is it? Let's get that up and running again. Everyone's going to be asking, where are we? Where are we going? That's right, that's FlyLive. Those things is deadly. Hopefully the clouds will clear up a little bit, because we'll be going right over the Alps. Reese Arkinis, how did you get the livery? One of my members very kindly made it for me, as do many of the members of the channel. Technical Raccoon, oh, I thought you were elsewhere. Hello from the island, Northern Ireland. Oh no, I'm over in the UK. Steve, boss, I hope you're looking after Jack in the same manner. He's just getting spoiled as he ever was. And about half an hour before the stream, we just got back from a 3-mile walk, quite warm today. He's quite hot at the moment, so he's laying on the hard floor. He usually comes into the office about halfway through the stream. Yeah. Thanks for subscribing, Lelon. That's right, it's the stapler MELable. No, it is required for dispatch for the stream. Although I am using my thing. Listen, a plane with neither winglets nor fences looks so incomplete. Yeah, it looks a little bare. So you'll see as we climb, our Mach number is increasing, so we maintain 280 knots. Climb thrust about 92%, don't go too much higher than that, otherwise you'll cause a problem with the engines of the FlyJSim. And the performance is obviously dropping off as the density decreases. We should be prior to 330 doing around 500 feet per minute or so. Oh, Quasimodo, is the engine anti-ice still on? Yes. Just testing your... Hold on, Quasimodo, you win? But yeah, it's a nice circling approach today. Really cool. 60 miles till we get to Salzburg VOR. We have the INS distance here and the VOR distance there. Like this little iPad. Well, the tablets are available, but this little iPad holder is pretty cool. Danny, what engines are fitted under this bird in the 732 in general? We were discussing this earlier. These are pretty much turbojet engines. I never forget what letter and number I put first. I'm looking up now. CFM 56 on the NG. JTAD Pratt & Whitney engines on this one. Turbojet, basically. Oh no, they have some bypass. Pratt & Whitney is an ultra-low bypass engine. 0.96 to 1. That's pretty much non-existent. So there's a little bit of bypass there then. Lauren, very, very low bypass turbulence, yes. But you can't really see. Well, just getting a face full of fumes. I have to wait until the engines are shut down on the stand. Yes. Probably can see a tiny little gap. Yes, I remember the last time we flew this aircraft, it crashed as well, and that was due to X-Pilot, or something to do with I think it's something to do with the TCAS system on the FlyJSim mucking around with things as well. But the log was moaning about something to do with X-Pilot, so offline today, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, guys. I know some people did join in on the sector as well, but probably help with that approach as well. But next time. I was actually I was trying to think of a stream to do yesterday, but there was very few VATSIM events going on, just the usual stuff for Tuesday. There's always Berlin, I think, and then Zurich, and then somewhere else. I thought, well, we've been there 1,000 times. Garrett, pull the seat me for the TCAS problem solved. I don't know if they've bottled that. Bodybuilder says, please do an external view when you land so they get to see the engines reverse thrust. Really spooky looking. Well, I won't land in the external view, but the replay, I'll make sure it's a wing view so you can see the buckets deploy, and then obviously we'll do multiple replays. There's Magnus, 7-0, 40 miles till we get to Salzburg. We should actually, if we look straight ahead, see it. It's going to be around in that distance there, so see the Alps starting. Hello, Angelique, but says I'm a 787 first officer. Very cool. Welcome. Eyesight's only an afterburner away from being called military engine, pretty much. Quiet there. Franco Puffred, press hold 4, that will fix your crashing problem. Oh really? Oh, shall I do that? Okay. You fool. The Jules, are you free next Wednesday? If so, maybe fly in or out of Cologne. Nice freeway scenery. Next Wednesday should be free. I'm flying this weekend, and I am planning at the moment, no promises, to actually record a tutorial on Thursday, to release on Thursday evening. Flying then the weekend, and then Mariana's back this weekend as well from Portugal next week. I might be doing something Monday, someone messaged me actually, wants to come round, which I need to reply to. But no, I actually want to do another Euro Truck stream. I was actually thinking of maybe doing it tonight because I've got nothing planned. For those of you who don't know, I have a second YouTube channel, and last Euro Truck stream I had to try and make, was it £100,000? It took 5 hours, and we ended up in Riga with a wrecked truck. But I was actually looking at the jobs today. There's actually a job to Szczecin in Poland, which sets us up really nicely for the next stream. But I need to repair my truck first, which I'll do in the stream. It's got like £20,000 worth of damage. And then we'll do something else. Also, I'm going to do some streams for Apex Legends on the second channel because it's about to start another Rank League season. It's just about to finish. Because I've been playing quite a bit here, I might as well stream it. Very quiet actually, I should think it would be much louder. There we are, almost at Mach decimal 7.4 now, so obviously I don't want to go much faster, so what I will slowly do is start bringing the target speed back to maintain decimal 7.4. I just want to wait until we get established on that speed. That will help increase our rate of climb as well. 17 miles till we get to Salzburg. Pretty much under that cloud. John, 100 plus 1 for ETS tonight. I'll see. I'm going to finish the stream, get some dinner and stuff like that, and I might just fire it up. Is Dirk getting a new co-worker? We need to. I've got a bit enough. Well, I'm going to fix the truck first. But yeah, well, I'll see. Cool. So what we'll do is made a note of the airborne time at 16:30. So 31. 35. So we should be overhead Salzburg at time. Oh, I've screwed up my terms here. 1 plus 4 is 35. 48. So we should be overhead Salzburg at time 50 according to blog. So that's looking pretty good because the time is now 49. We should have 5.2 tons on board, we should have 1.8. So 6 miles till Salzburg, about to fly directly overhead the Salzburg VOR. Of course it's obscured by cloud. No, there it is, I can see the runway. So we'll do a fuel and time check there. Hi Guru, what have I missed? All good here Guru, we had a sim crash after departure, but we've just got airborne here today. Franco Bob Fred altimeter 2992. Oh, got some real nitpickers in chat today, but you are right. 2992. You don't forgive me anything. 1 degree out of the radial, or 1 inch. There we go. There we are. So yeah, so I forgot actually. The Salzburg VOR isn't actually over the airfield. It's a little bit to the north. So there's Salzburg, the airport is just to the south of us. Okay, to the map. I'm not so sure, but yeah, the VOR is just to the north. So if we look out here to the left now, there's the airport. There's Salzburg Airport, and we're now inbound to our next waypoint. Let's just do a fuel check here, actually, at Salzburg. So we're airborne, guys, at time 16:30 Zulu exactly, so that's easy to work out our time. So 20 minutes into the flight, we should be overhead to Salzburg, so 16:50, look at that, it is 51, but it was 50 by the time we went over the VOR. We should have 5.2 tons of fuel on board. Convert it easily here, we have 6.6, so that's an extra 1.5 tons. Again, that was a little bit extra because I reloaded, I couldn't change the fuel with the engines running. And we should have burnt 1.8 tons. Again, that's a... Because the sim crash reloaded, the fuel just was a random figure. Thankfully, it was enough. So yeah, the fuel checks doesn't... As long as we've got more fuel, that's fine. But next, we're inbound. We're flying over several FIR boundaries, Rhine, Vienna, Rhine again, then Vienna, then Ljubljana. We're actually inbound to this waypoint here, which is the Bistrica VOR 14.8. So we can shoot 14.8 as well to back up the INS navigation. There we are, 143, 142, that makes sense, and the needle's pointing in the same direction, so it's looking good. Ah, decimal 76, what's going on? Sorry, distracted. Yes, so, as I mentioned, keep bringing that speed back. We can zoom now up to 330 at least. So really quickly climbing now because we've bugged back. We're back at decimal 74 now. Converting that kinetic energy into potential energy by increasing our rate of climb by bringing the speed back. Outer hold's now engaged, so it's going to level off. And target thrust around 88-ish%. Holds back decimal 74 quite nicely, so I'll start bringing that thrust back. Smoothly does it, because these engines will start surging if you take off thrust too quickly. There we are, 88%. And that will give us mag decimal 73, 74-ish. We can just make fine tune it later. There's no auto throttle on this aircraft, so keep fiddling with that. There we are. So we should be touching down in around an hour and 10 minutes, or maybe a little less than that. We are now flying over the Alps. Fantastic views. And I'll take this opportunity to do some exterior views because we don't often do that. So might as well look at that scenery down there. Superb. Blue1247, what's your first name? Enjoying your streams, keep it up. You can call me Brian, Blue1247, thanks. PG says that would be awesome. I don't know what you're referring to there though. Oh, A380 converted into a freighter plane, that would be pretty cool. I love that, Lauren. 0.74 without an auto throttle. If you're not clacking, you're slacking. I love that. Ashju says, I must say I absolutely love flying over the Alps with some good ortho like this. Yes, this is zoom level 17, does look excellent. It's been a while since we've flown over this. Listen to me, well remembered, no, don't say my real name, please. Lauren says that when I see him, we open our first second base in Sweden, where a new Swedish truck for the all Swedish fleet, Hamburg, and work for Airbus on Corsica, and work for Dubrovnik. Love it. We do need to set up a second base. How can you make it look easy, but on the other hand you would probably look as confused I look at when I am doing my work thing. Yeah, most likely Hakan. You know, you're seeing me do what I've been trained and practiced doing for over a decade now. But yes, no doubt you'll have something very complex and difficult, which will make me scratch my head. Garrick, I'm sure there's not many Jebediahs flying for Jowl. John, have you ever flown the Citations yet? I don't think those have auto throttles either. I don't think they do, John. I've not flown the Citation or the CRJ or anything like that in real life, but the versions of the sim I've flown, both the CRJ in Microsoft Flight Simulator and their little CJ4 Citation, they don't have auto throttle. Andy H1302, yeah, pretty much. Lucian Joseph, great flight, thank you. If you are enjoying the video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button as well. Just a nice classic flight, the 200. Thank you all again for your patience as we're dealing with those technical issues earlier. Got airborne. Look at those views, spectacular. I mentioned it before, I prefer the look of Ortho 4XP in X-Plane than I do with the Microsoft Flight Simulator sort of, I don't know if they have tiles, I think it looks crisper in X-Plane. Franco Bob Fred, is the 200 able to do cat-through approach and auto-land? The FlyJSim, no. Whether the real 200 had that capability, I have no idea. No idea. One thing that Microsoft Flight Simulator does have, though, is when it's winter, the snow looks amazing. It looks incredible. Obviously, these are all photos, so yeah, not too realistic, too unrealistic now, because obviously we're approaching summer, so it's not so much. Actually, I don't have that one yet. There we are. What happened last time? There we are. Nightbot should now be correctly telling you which scenery, what ICAO, what the ICAO code is for Nuremberg. Southend Aviation, fun fact, the JT-ADs are the world's second most produced jet engine, of course the CFM56 being first. I didn't know that. Congratulations winning the giveaway the other day as well. I hope that hoodie's on its way. Uh-oh, he's changing things in the stream. I don't know. Oh no! I've made a typo, I think. I put Echo Golf. Hold on. Why did I do that? Hold on, no, wait. What? Oh no, I was looking at the wrong one. Routes is Echo Delta Delta November. Yeah, okay. Now it's worked. Now it works. But there's a 30-second cooldown for that command. Yeah, okay, well done. Thanks for subscribing, Fuchsuper. Welcome aboard. There you go, so sometimes there's nothing you can do. Here's a particular tile that looks like... Yeah, there's no photo generated. I tried regenerating that one, but the same happened again. So it's not always perfect. You can see sometimes the photos change, but overall it improves the sim dramatically. What is this music? I feel like I should be on a Caribbean island. Is that Mont Blanc? No, Mont Blanc's much further west. We're right on the eastern side of the Alps here. We're probably about 200 or 300 miles away from Mont Blanc. Danny, just a lot of snow over there. Yes, that's all it is. Cool. So, when we get overhead India Lima Bravo, we'll only be 20 minutes away from top of descent, because pretty much top of descent is, as the flight plan says, I'm doing it at absolutely overhead split, worked out quite nicely earlier, so we'll be doing that then. That's bigger. So our speed now. Our decimal 7 is pretty stable at decimal 7.6. We'll just fly that speed. Fuel doesn't cost anything in the simulator. Bodybuilder Captain got a new girl on station. Needs to do a pilot incapacitation for SCP. Got a few minutes. No. The world. Lucian, do you install Xenviro? Nope, don't have Xenviro. I'm very much a believer of, you know, I like to enhance the simulator as much as possible, but if you start piling on plugins and add-ons, you're just going to increase the likelihood of the sim crashing. So I think Xenviro has quite a performance impact as well. So this is pretty much vanilla X-Plane 11, apart from Active Sky for the weather, which is a really important plugin in my view to enhance the experience, which also has a cloud texture set, an improved cloud texture set, which I use. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. No shaders, nothing. Just vanilla sim. Blue, there's a Top Gun fighter jet expansion coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator in fall. I did see that. Might get it for a bit of a laugh, but it looks exciting for anyone that wants to fly an F-15. But I should think that'll upset a lot of. What is that modern fighter jet flight simulator called again? You guys asked me to play it loads. DCS, isn't it? Don't think it'll be quite the same as DCS. Cool. Anyway, we're approaching next VOR. It's 55 miles, so you can have a look here on the INS. Quite a lot of information is available to you. Status of the INS, its position, the current wind, 345 at 25, so we've got a nice little tailwind here. Distance time to the next waypoint, so 53 miles, going to take 6.8 minutes. coordinates for your selected waypoint, so waypoint number 5. Present position, cross-track error from your INS routing, so if you fly left or right in heading select, you'll see that increase. Heading and track and ground speed. It's pretty good. Distance time is the best one to have on. Thanks for subscribing, Lucian Joseph. Welcome aboard, buddy. It's an F-18, is it? Oh, I don't know. Franco Bob Fresno here. Microsoft Alpaca Simulator's coming out soon. Brilliant. John Franco, I remember Combat Flight Simulator 2. I got that in 2000 for Christmas, so along with Flight Simulator 2000 Professional Edition. John Franco, Combat Flight Simulator 2, was that set in the Pacific? I remember. And you could fly... yeah, oh God, what was the Gullwing? Corsair. I remember flying the Corsair. Then when Combat Flight Simulator 3 came out, sort of Battle of Britain, that was an amazing game. 'Cause you could... It was the first time you could like take up the gunner position, the bomber position. Obviously it looks rubbish now, but amazing. That was probably not about the same age as me then, John, because yeah, my first sim was Combat Flight Simulator. I had 2, and then my first commercial was 2002 with the Cessna Caravan. Came in 3 discs. And 2002, then 2004 came out, which was amazing. And FSX in what was it, 2006, 7? When 2006 came out, I remember buying a copy of PC Pilot and going, "Wow, this looks amazing." John, yeah, I won't disclose my age, but I'm not too far off, John. Lauren, Combat Flight Sim 3 was almost a strategy game, kind of crazy that you could win World War II as a straight bomber crew by 1943. I remember. Now, I've been looking for a new game to play on Steam. There's a strategy game based on World War II, which I'm quite interested in getting. I love strategy games, like Civ 6, well, Civ 5, Civ 6. Well, City Skylines and so much strategy. I love the sort of planning and building and stuff. I saw that Total Rome. I can't remember the full name of the game. I spent a lot of hours playing Total Rome. What's the full game called? I can't remember. But hundreds of hours in it. They've just released an updated, sort of increased graphics one. One looks a lot better. Very cool. Excellent, so we're approaching India Lima Bravo. That is the Bistrica VOR. That's in Slovenia. So I'm just about to fly overhead Slovenia. And we'll start setting up for the approach soon after that. Total War has just been remastered. That's what I'm thinking of here. Total War Rome. I've got about 200 or 300 hours in that Steam. Amazing. Crusader Kings I never got into, Eric. I think I did buy it, but it was a little bit too micromanaging. I usually used to play Total War and do each individual fight, so I got to the problem where you start doing every single war and you get a bit bored. So, or every single battle. Cool. Right, let's collect some charts for Dubrovnik. So nearer 8 Alpha. And fly the localizer approach runway 11, followed by the circle to land for runway 29. And that's very much going to be the runway used today, I think, because the last time I checked the wind in Dubrovnik, it was 30014 knots. So yeah, the only way to get onto 29 is via a visual approach or this circle to land approach, which we're going to be doing today. Eric's still waiting to buy a GPU. It's almost been a year. Nothing in stock or affordable. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of demand for them, hasn't there? Thanks for subscribing, Ring to Gamer 6. Hey, he says, can you fly a DC-10 or MD-11? I don't think there's a decent one for X-Men 11, but there is an MD-11 coming out by rotate for Expert 11, probably this year. Cool. Right, let's start setting up for this approach as we approach whatever this VOR was called, Bistrica 14.8. So we'll get the next VOR afterwards tuned, which is Split, and that's going to be quite important because that will show us how many miles until top of descent. It's pretty much directly overhead Split. So 15.7, 165 miles until we get to Split. No, what we should be doing is actually identifying it. Where is the... Let's see if we can hear it. Everyone knows Morse code. Hopefully that was Sierra Papa Lima. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't have any en route charts to hand, but that's what you're meant to do before you actually use it for navigation, is identify it. Either by Morse code or obviously on an ND if you get the identifier code displayed. That also counts as being identified. Right, we'll just wait until we overhead this waypoint, make sure it turns and sinks inbound to Split. Here at Bistrica we should have been airborne for exactly 40 minutes, so it should be around 10 past, which it is, so that checks out perfectly for the time. So here we are, 40 minutes airborne. Fuel check, we should have 4.4 tons on board, and we have 6 tons, so an extra 1500 kilos. There we are, left turn now to Split. Nice. Bodybuild muscle champ, are we 30 minutes out, Captain? Well, I updated the time based off our second takeoff, so according to that we're on time perfectly. Otherwise we'd be pretty much in the top of descent by now. There we are. Right, let's start setting up for this approach then. So this is a really busy approach. You're going to see me sweating because there's a lot of frequencies to change, a lot of courses, a lot of NDBs, so I'm going to be flicking around the cockpit making sure it's all correct. But how it's going to start is we'll be approaching nearer, so there's no FMS to load, there's nothing at all. We're just going to be following needles, radials, DMEs, distances, and positioning the aircraft onto a final by using all these ground-based navigation aids. So we're going to be routing direct to Nera. Nera is the last INS programmed waypoint, and when we get to Nera we should just get within range of this NDB. FlyJSim, I have no idea how that's pronounced, which is 318. So what I'm going to do first is tune up 318 here, and once we're there we'll be intercepting the localized approach. So that's it for the arrival, coming in from the northwest there. You can expect turbulence with northeastern winds from 15 knots rolling over the terrain here. And yeah, we are intercept 120 bearing to the NDB. Descend is cleared by ATC. So what we'll do, we'll initiate descent, probably go down to something like flight level 120, and then we'll descend to 5,000 feet, set the QNH. And then we've got distance checks via Dubrovnik, so 21 DME from Dubrovnik. We can go from 5,000 to 4,000 feet. Once we're at that NDB then, you'll see the NDB is slightly offset from the localizer, so we'll actually have the localizer showing a fly right indication. So what I'm going to do is just prior to FlyJSim is make a right turn, or intercept the ILS, well, the localizer from the ILS, which is 110.1. Now I'm not going to tune any of these frequencies yet because we're still using en route navigation, utilising the Split VOR at the moment, so this is why it's quite busy. You can't set up anything until you get a little bit closer. Course wise, I can set the final approach course I guess on Jim's side now, 114, but we will have to set the VORs up later and the ILS frequencies. So from FlyJSim we'll intercept the localizer, slight right turn, and then we'll descend on the ILS. Now be careful, like with the 737NG, if you arm approach, so if I put the automation in auto approach, it'll lock onto the glide slope and it won't respect any altitudes that you set on the altitude MCP here. So same with the real 737, same as the NG. Now I don't want to descend onto the ILS, we've got to do the circle. So I'm going to be flying the localizer approach and using the pitch function. So this autopilot has the ability to hold pitch. The only way to descend, you've got two ways of descending. You've got IS hold, which isn't that great, you know, to maintain a sort of glide slope. be descending on this glide path here, because I'm going to be using pitch hold. So sort of like with the BAE 146 we discovered recently, and it has that ability to hold your attitude. The same with this, you can just engage control wheel steering by physically moving the control column, and then we'll just set an attitude to maintain the glide slope so we can follow it, but I don't want the automation to follow it, otherwise the aircraft will continue past the minimums for the circling approach. Now, there's no minimums here. Look, you'll see straight in ILS approach or localized, and it says here for circling procedure. Oh, you're joking, man. Oh my god, it's just crashed again. What's the difference between me streaming normally? I do test sectors. I did the test sector and it was fine, and this is the second time it's crashed. Oh my goodness me, I'm so sorry, guys. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let's see what happened now. I mean, there's nothing I do. You make so much effort to test the sectors, make sure the stream works perfectly. You know, test it. I'm like, great, watch this, guys, in Discord. You know, I've done the test sector. I'm all ready and prepared for my stream. You spend so long. I mean, one stream is a day's work for me, and this has happened again. Right, well, again, what we'll do, we're going to go to Dubrovnik, okay? I'm going to stick it... maybe I can go from Split. Oh no, because there's all scenery issues from Split. No, what we'll do, I'm going to spawn on the runway in Split, and then we'll go from Split, which is very, very close to Dubrovnik, and we'll go from there. Let me just have a look at the log. I think this is related to the FlyJSim, because I've had no issues whatsoever. I'm just having a look here at the log again, guys. Deary me. Someone really doesn't want us to... Something's stopping us from getting to Dubrovnik today. Chin up. Let's have a look here at the log again. I might just have to refresh it because it still says 1800. Huh? Why is it saying 1800? Has it not done a new one? I've posted it anyway. I'm just reading the log again to see what it says. It says... Memory Heap 2 has overstepped its budget. Loads of stuff about Ortho. Maybe it's an Ortho thing this time. Oh dear, oh dear. Getting the Zebo. I know, I'm thinking about it. It says something about radios. Oh my goodness me, I'm sure, yeah. Here we are. There's loads of stuff saying error. I don't think it's Vulcan. No, I don't think it's Vulcan. I haven't had any Vulcan-related crashes for months. I mean, just like, I've had no crashes in X-Plane for months. But the 200 jumping into this again. Oh. I'm sure someone in Discord will be able to tell me what to do. Right then, guys. So, yeah, I'll throw you back to the Be Right Back screen again. What I'll do, if you look on Google Maps, we're going to spawn in Split. Okay, Split is very close. It's where we're going to initiate our descent anyway. So we're going to start engines running in Split, and then just go there. Oh, apparently, thanks ISO, Ortho is just time logging. Looks like an X-Plane bug this time. X-Plane memory management this time. I ran out of VRAM. Okay, thanks X-Plane 11. Thanks everything. Right, thanks again for your patience. Gonna spawn in Splits, and then we're gonna get you to Dubrovnik in one piece or another. Okay, see you in about 5-10 minutes. Cheers. Here we are. Attempt 3. Trying to get to Dubrovnik. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, so where are we, ladies and gentlemen? We are now in Croatia. We're in Split. Okay, just keep FlyLive fired up again. So yeah, it's not very far to go at all. This is where we would have started our descent. Overhead, this VOR, which is only 2 miles away here. So, I don't know what the code is for Split. LDSP. Going to Dubrovnik. And we are Alpaca 1 Charlie Lima. So, there we are. I've got a little bit of basic flight information coming up for you. We only have, 100 nautical miles to go. So, what we're going to do is, I'm all set up. I'm not going to load the INS up. I can use conventional navigation. It's going to take too long. So we crashed, sim crashed about here, I think. We were around there. So we're now in Split. We're going to fly along the coast, quite nice. There's Dubrovnik. We're going to climb up to flight level 150. And what we're going to do is, if you have a look at our operational flight plan, we're going to intercept the radial we would be on anyway in the descent. So if you have a look here, from Split to Nera, the radial we need to fly, or the track, sorry, is 118. So you can see you have to split 118. Changes to 119. So I've got 118 set, and runway heading is set as well. So what I'm going to simply do is just take off, and then as soon as we're airborne, 1,000 feet, make a right turn, intercept the radial manually, climbing up to flight level 150, and go from there. And as soon as we're at level at 150, actually, you know what? I'm going to climb to flight level 100 because I haven't even briefed the arrival for you. I was just about to start the briefing. And I won't have much time here, so we're going to go to 100, and we'll just do the briefing from there. Now, aircraft's configured, ready for departure. Fuel, again, it's as we left it. We are below our max landing weight, though, so it's not a big issue. We're going to have plenty of fuel. We're not going to be checking it anymore. But 8 tons, we'll be landing with something like 6.5, perhaps, maybe 7. Max landing weight is 47.7, and we're currently at 47.1, so we are just below it. Be quite heavy, but
50,
so yeah, that's it. We'll
30,
accept our route and go
20,
from there. Steve!
10.
Thanks, John. Third time's a charm, hopefully. Thanks again, Steve.
I'm not taking the blame for this again.
Oh, Steve. You jinxed us, remember? It's all your fault. That's very kind again, Steve. Longest members of the channel coming with another generous donation. Thank you very much, sir. Very, very kind. Right, well, I think I've done everything. I think we've done everything. Let's put this to 10,000 now, so I'm just going to go to 150. And as soon as we're there, I'm going to start setting up for the approach. Right, so that's all on. Start switch continuous. Well, be it on my head. If I've forgotten anything, flap 5. Let's go. Right, parking brake released. Esther stowed, I hope so. Looking good here. Let's set takeoff thrust. I updated the bug speeds, remember that this time. 2.15. There's a lot of terrain in that direction as well. I've put a lot of right rudder in here. Takeoff thrust indications.
80 knots.
Checked. A little bit of aileron into wind, so left aileron.
P1. Rotate.
There we are, airball for the third time. Positive rate of climb. Gears coming up. Just going to wait until 1,000 feet. We'll make that turn to intercept that radial. Set climb thrust a bit early. This isn't a visual departure, just sort of doing my own thing here to get established. Flaps 1. And flaps up. Hold, heading select engaged, have to take a check this. So gears off, start switches off, air conditioning, pressurization. Diff pressure is 1.0 climbing, slowly. Flight and set. We are, have to take up chest complete, so we'll just maintain this heading and we should be then, I should make a slight right turn here, and we should be then pretty much on the same route we had on before. I didn't choose split VOR, didn't I? It's split VOR. 15.7. No, that's active. Should be all good. And what I'll actually do, I'm going to go up to 120. I think because the transition altitude's at 11,000 feet here, so we'll just go to 120. VOR put on box 2, 15.4. Yeah, only 100 miles away from Dubrovnik. Set standards. Gonna be. I'm not gonna go so fast because I don't want to rush this briefing. I'm going to explain what we're going to be doing. There we are, with all locks engaged, so I'm just going to make a left turn and we're pretty much directly underneath where we would have been about this time already. Right, fingers crossed, no more problems. And the FlyJSim crash again, yeah, 2 crashes. Excellent. So we can actually do... Oh, I can't really tune that yet. So 318. And I'm going to fly it around 220-ish knots. How far is Dubrovnik? Very close. Only 90 miles away. So I'm not going to accelerate, just going to maintain 220 knots here, just because I haven't had the time to breathe this. Just get leveled off there, so just keep the speed under control. Set. Leave the seatbelts on. Wait until out hold enunciates. Aaron, as far as the number of apps going to VRAM, it might be worth restarting things like browsers and flight trackers before commencing a flight. Oh, trust me, I do all of that, Aaron. Every stream, everything's reset, even when it just crashed now, and reloaded again. And nothing's running in the background. Discord I disable, well, apart from uploading the log just now. Internet, nothing else is running. Literally right click and close anything else which could be conflicting. These things just happen in the sim sometimes. I usually have no problems, and then usually they all happen at once. Hopefully we'll get them all out the way and rid of today. Right, anyway, there's 120. Let's start talking about this approach then. This little positioning flight to Dubrovnik. Nice scenic approach anyway. Look at this along the coastline of Croatia here. Routing then, we're currently sort of not inbound, well, we are inbound to Nera, but it's sort of based off the airway, which you would have done there. Previously I had Nera programmed as an INS waypoint. What we're going to be doing is sort of work out our top of descent based off this distance here. So 12,000 feet, 2436. If we start our descent in 40 miles time, that'll work out quite nicely. We already mentioned we'll be going to the Kep NDB, then we talked about how we'll intercept the localizer for this approach as well. So tune up 110.1 as we get a little bit closer. We'll descend down to 4,000 feet to intercept. Remember, we're not following the ILS, we're using the control wheel steering pitch function. We're then flying towards the second NDB, Cavtats 397, which I'm going to put down
20,
here. Oh, it's already there, that's great. Thank you very much, Piranha72, for the $5.
Great job.
Thank you. You can see me battling through all the issues we're having. Thank you very much. That's another donation you've done there for 72 from last stream. So thank you for the continued support, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Stateside, thank you very much. So yeah, localizer approach down to the circling minimum. So I think this is where it crashed, wasn't it? For circling procedure, and I never got to this part here. As it says here, after the ILS or localizer, which is what we're doing, category C, 2170. So I'm not going to set this as a radio altitude, 1643, because there's a lot of undulating terrain, it won't be that accurate. So I'm going to set, just as a reference, 2,200 feet, the little bar here, there you go, well you can only set it to the nearest 100 feet, but never mind. We'll have 2,200 feet set here on the altitude, and the aircraft will level off at that height. Now what we're going to do is, there's no timings involved with this circling approach, we're going to be basing it, everything's based off the Dubrovnik VOR. So once we get to the Cavtat NDB, let me just check my speed, 220. There we are. Once we get to the Cavtat NDB, we're going to break off to the... What have I done here? How did I make that chart so small? There we are. Breaking off to the right, flying outbound from the Cavtat QDR of 157. So that's outbound, and then when we get to the 227 radial, we're on a Cat C aircraft, so 227, we'll have the Dubrovnik VOR tuned, it'll be the tail of the needle on 227, we're going to make a left turn, tracking 114, and then when we're on the 157 radial from Dubrovnik, we'll make a left turn to intercept final. So we must maintain circling altitude or minima until we're sort of turning final there, which is 2,200 feet. And then we sort of make a turn here towards the Gruder NDB. There's so many NDBs around here, but I'm not actually going to properly tune this. I'm going to be flying this visually. So I'll be flying this around here, left turn. I want to be around 1,500 feet when I finish my turn onto final, and then we'll land. Simple as that. Nothing else really to say apart from the landing performance. So this is, you might have seen me do my circling approach based off my operator's SOPs. They're just tracks and timings based off there not being a prescribed track approach. if there's an actual prescribed track approach, you follow the guidance on the chart. If approved to fly, that is. There we are, nice long runway, 3,200 metres. I reckon Delta or Charlie will do us. I'm going to set auto brake to minimum. And landing performance. Let's go to landing. I'm going to use flat 30, set bucks now. So VREF for now, based off of gross weight, will be 134, flying 139 knots. Reconnect to FlyJSim? No, not today, I'm afraid. I've had enough issues, not FlyJSim, but PC-wise today. There we are. Any questions about that approach? We've actually got a little bit of time here. 70 miles at flight level 120. We are coasting in beautifully. And then we're really just waiting for the collar SEP NDB to come alive, 318. So we've got ADF selected here, 318. I think it's actually tuning on both, 318. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put them both to 318 because I cannot remember which ADF needle is controlled by which ADF receiver. So I'll put them both to 318, so at least the needle will start pointing towards the first NDB when it gets mid-range. We're a little bit too far out there. There we are. So 120, 36 miles, we'll start at descent at around 40, so 25 miles till top of descent. What a stream, my goodness. I again apologise for the problems. These things, as you're well aware, you all use the sim, most of you, X-Men 11 and Microsoft Flight Simulator. These little hiccups do happen. What's really frustrating is the preparation you put into it. And I ran the sector earlier, and I was on FlyJSim on observer mode. Zero problems from Nuremberg to Dubrovnik. Literally zero. Shut the PC down, started up again, and then all of a sudden, while streaming, it starts doing all this stuff. Base Lake Bob says, what? No Mariana? What about Jack? Mariana's gone back home to see her parents in Portugal, so she's gone to go get her passport sorted and do that. It's just Jack and me in the FlyJSim household. The Jules, do you descend on the circle to land, or if you're lined up with the runway? Yeah, so you've got to maintain circling minima until sort of established on final, or turning base leg, really. You can't go below that. If you're flying a visual approach, there's nothing stopping you because you're responsible for your height, but for a circling approach, you've got to maintain that minima. Unless you scrap it and say, well, I'm going to fly a visual circuit now, that's fine. But flying that circling minima for a normal circling approach, you should be above all obstacles. It's a very random number, it's like 490 something feet, but as long as you maintain the height you won't hit anything. Within 4.2 miles of the landing runway. Yeah, LaJules, so yeah, good question, and some circles on this one, yeah, if you maintain 2,200 by the time you're final, you'll be way too high. So when I'm sort of here, I'll start descending visually, but you know, you've got to be sort of on that turn to final. You can't really do it any earlier. Brad, please explain for 2 weeks ago, I was crashing every day. Microsoft Flight Simulator is good for now, some crashes, but not as much as I explained. It happens, it happens. I generally explain very stable for me, I don't have issues. Sometimes they happen. I don't think I've had a crash for well over a month or two. Not like multiple issues like I've had today, that's for sure. Aaron, the fear of the sim crashing makes the hobby exhausting. It does, it does. But, you know, I don't think I've ever let a crash ever finish a straight. I've never crashed and gave up. I've always persevered. I thought, right, where are we? Let's go from split this time. Where are we? Oh, it just crashed up and take off. Let's go on. They happen. It happens. You know, I want to make sure that you guys get to watch me at least do something, at least one approach and landing. Cool. And look at this. We've got a nice scenic approach. Very quiet in the cabin. So we're still established on that 118 radial from Split. Just waiting for 40 miles, 10 miles from top of descent now. Still not picked up the NDB yet.
Welcome.
Thanks for subscribing. William, I think that's Burst. Welcome aboard. $27 miles. Now we're on our arrival, so you can see we're not quite overhead nearer because I've got actually no way of determining where that point is at the moment. Because I still haven't tuned up the NDB, so there's not much I can do. Might just set 119 and put us a little bit closer. In fact, I think the course changed to 119 anyway. Massive Nerd, I fixed that stutter. Yeah, INS stutter, I've done the fix for that. The first crash I had, I think, was something to do with TCAS and X-Pilot conflicting in the FlyJSim. The second one was unrelated. That was a X-Plane memory issue. Anyway, 43 miles, 42 miles, I reckon we should initiate our descent. So, what we'll do, we're approaching near it, we'll go down to 5,000 feet. Set IS hold and slowly reduce thrust. Aircraft's now in pitching for the bug speed, so we'll bug around to 22-30 knots. And we'll set the QNH, which I think someone just put in chat for me. QNH is 1015. I'll tell you one thing which the FlyJSim does, which is a little annoying, is that trimmer sometimes does not stop trimming. It constantly trims up, down, up, down. It's a bit annoying sometimes. It's not how it should be doing it, but now I've told you, it'll be annoying you for the whole approach. There we are. Looks like we picked up the ADF now, so what I'm going to do is revert to heading select and just fly direct to that NDB. So you can see that we have the ADF pointing there. So what we can do now is tune up the ILS frequency, which is 110.1. Jim can have it as well. And we'll put Dubrovnik on standby, which is 15.4. There we go. So we're a little bit too far out. We don't have the localizer alive yet. 34 miles. We've got the DME, which is useful. Nice subscribing. Axel Teddy channel. Welcome.
Welcome.
Passing 100 for flight level, 5,000 feet. Doing post cruise checks now, so put the lights on. Usually we wait for the retracts, but I'm on my own. I'll have to do that now. So fuel, we have loads. We've been reloading sim so many times. Lights, angular bank you can't set. Pressurization decreasing 4.5. Seatbelts on. Recoil checks complete. There we are. So I actually have the glide slope alive now, which is good. Just waiting for the localizer indication. We'll bring the speed back a little bit more now. There we are. Just around 200 knots, roughly where the up speed should be. And again, we're just flying directly to that NDB. There we are. So the collar set NDB 318. Thanks for subscribing as well, Tashinga Nyandoro, welcome. Looking quite nice, we're bang on that glide slope. But remember, I'm not going to be following that in glide slope or glide slope hold mode or whatever they call it on this auto approach. I'm going to be flying it manually using control wheel steering just to maintain that glide slope. So when we're 21 miles from Dubrovnik, which I don't actually have tuned at the moment, we can go down to 4,000, which is the platform. Again, we're just waiting for that localizer to come alive, which it should do. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. Set the courses 414. Remember, we're going to have a fly right indication. Glide slope's looking very nice though. CWS control wheel steering, Ollie, lets you hold your attitude. So it's got a very basic rudimentary pitch hold function on this autopilot. Good though. Let's get a little bit out of range. Approaching 21 miles from Dubrovnik, then we can go down to 4,000 feet, which is the platform altitude. And what I'm going to do is engage this pitch hold mode, and you just simply do that by overriding the control column. There we are. So pitch hold is now engaged. So now it's going to just hold the attitude, and now the localizer's alive. So what I'm going to do, you can see as we approach the Coliseb NDB, what I should do is enter the hold if we've not been cleared. But I'm just going to make a manual right turn to intercept the localizer now. And I go flap 1, engage, full lock. Again, I'm in control wheel steering pitch, so I'm just going to lower that nose by pitching manually. A little bit too much. Just to recapture that glide slope. Flaps to 5. Bugger 180 knots. So you see the speed's just going a little bit away from us here. We'll bugger 160. You can still use flap 10 or speed brake. Flap 10, 210 knots. So just below 210 knots. So I can select flaps to 10. Our speed's coming back nicely, a little bit high on the glides. So again, just lower that nose slightly. There we go. Just have to add a little bit of thrust. Localizer, a live localizer capture, runway heading 114 set. So, next NDB I need to tune is 397. So quickly go up here. This is where the workload increases drastically. That's my speed I'm a little bit concerned about. Yeah, that's still fine coming back. 397. Be the last one I tune. I'm not going to use that last NDB, as I said. And this one's important because that's the point at which you initiate your turn on final. Again, a little bit high on the glide, but that doesn't matter. I'm not flying this approach, the glide slope, remember. I'm going to be flying this to the NDB. Once I get to the CAT or CAVTAT NDB, we're going to be making this braking right turn onto the circle-prescribed tracks. There we are. So, looking good. Now, what I need to do now is we're approaching our descent point, so we're going to set 2,200 feet, which is our circling minima, and the aircraft will now level off. If I was in approach mode, the aircraft will not level off, it will go straight through 2,200 feet. We'll arm the speed brake now. And again, I'm in this control wheel steering pitch, so I'm just going to pitch up slightly using the control column. Sort of using the glide slope as a rough guide. We'll configure gear down flap 15 when we're downwind at 2,200 feet, about there, and then landing flap just prior to turning final. We'll fly 140 on final.
Welcome.
Slowly adding a bit of thrust. Welcome, Bliss. So again, you can see if I want to just change my pitch, just pitch up slightly. There you are. It's just going to hold that attitude for me. So now I've got ADF selected here, so remember we're going to be making that right turn, and what I should have also done is you meant to identify every single one of these nav aids prior to using it as well. Very sensitive, adding that thrust to maintain 160. There we go. Thank you, Danny. It's a lot of frequencies, but it's quite hard to sort of explain what's going on. But yeah, CAVTAT and the first turn is based off the 157, so the tail of that needle we'll be using to fly until we intercept the 227 radial from Dubrovnik for our turn downwind. So the aircraft's about to level off now at 2,200, that's good. That's the circling minnow, so slowly feed in that thrust to maintain 160 knots. There we are, so level. You see what the wind is on the INS. 322 at 14. Yeah, so we might have a. Should be runway 29. Should be good today. Excellent. So a little bit low on speed. We just wait. We're now looking at the RMI, waiting for the needles to swing. Can't go below this height until we're sort of turning final. Minimum rest in the hotel for sector bag. Brilliant. Anyway, here comes that needle swing. It's going to be any second now. And we should preset that heading as well. Don't worry about the glide slope. That's long gone. Here comes the needle. So we're heading select now. And there it goes, swinging round. So we're directly overhead the Captain NDB, and we're going to go 157. Probably 15. Well, probably about 159 because we'll have that wind coming in from behind us. And you have to be in view of the runway at all times. If you fly to cloud or IMC or the RVR falls below the minimum required, you have to go around. To go around some circles. Depends where you are, depends on the design and the missed approach, but it's based off the missed approach you've flown. So in this case, I'll just fly on this heading, fly outbound 182. That's probably the easiest way of doing it, but if you had to reject and take landing, you want to fly in this direction, left turn to intercept as well. Right, anyway, sorry, getting busy now, so we actually need to get rid of that. We need the VOR for Dubrovnik. And now our initial turn, let's turn that off, no cheating. 227, so waiting for the tail of that needle to indicate 227. 227. So when that tail of that needle's on 227, we're going to be about here, and then we can make that turn downwind. That'll do. So that track is going to be 114. So we're downwind now, and there's no timings involved. This it's VPT, so it's all based on prescribed tracks, distances, and radials. We'll configure now. Get down flat 15, 140 knots is our final fly speed. Landing checklist. Start switch is continuous. Recall is checked. Speed brake. Our green light. There it is. Landing gear down 3 green. Auto brake is set. Flat 30. Now waiting for radial 157. 157. So when the tail's on 157, we can make that turn, which it nearly is. Just show you where we are. Not bad, a little bit wide, but that's not a problem. So 140 knots flaps. We have 30 green light, lights on, checks complete. There's 157. So what I'm going to do is just set a kind of like a base leg turn, and I'll be disconnecting and hand flying the rest. I'll do. So you can see on the chart. Look, it's sort of has a nice arced turn. I don't have that much control with the automation. Right. Anyway, should we have some fun disconnecting? So I'm just going to slowly start that descent now, sort of turning final. Speed's getting a bit high. Just set it around. I'm going to be at around 1,500 feet by the time I turn final. So I'm doing like a bit of a base leg here. It's not as pretty as it is on the chart, but it works. And I haven't tuned that. There was another NDB as well, which I haven't tuned. It's more a visual manoeuvre now. You should be looking at the runway here. This is where track IR is invaluable. So I'm sort of going to crank my head round here. Ooh, that rate of descent's a little bit fast. Speed's okay, a little bit fast as well. So I'm just going to rest that rate of descent slightly. I'm going to be doing about 500 feet per minute. If you have a look here on the chart, ooh, I'll show you where we are roughly. You should be. Yeah, there you go. runway's just at the top left of the window. I see 3 reds, so just a tiny bit low. Just going to arrest that rate of descent slightly. Speed's getting a bit low here. Don't want to be below. RVRS 136, I think, so we're okay. Just recovering there. A little bit wide on that turn, but that rate of descent now going to plug in around 700 feet per minute. Stay on the vertical profile. Now, on a circling approach, we have a slightly lower stabilised approach point. It's only 300 feet AGL. That's because some circles are quite tight. It gives you an opportunity to get all established on final, you know, on the centre line, out the correct profile as well. But we're just around 600-700 feet AGL here. 3 reds, tad low, so back on profile. There we are. Reset that attitude. Just trimming here. Speed's bang on 40 knots. There we are, and then just got to keep that picture now all the way into the flare. Gear not down. Why are you saying that in chat? Yeah, 3 greens, I'm good. Making me nervous.
500.
Checked. Get rid of that mouse.
400.
Well, we got here at least. Well, better wait until we're on the ground first.
200.
So you have to flare a bit early in this because it's so wallowy in pitch, the FlyJSim.
50. 40.
Check.
30.
Close.
20. 10.
Hold the attitude. Bit firm, that's fine. Great landing though. Speed brakes up. Reverse is unlocked. Adding thrust. There we are. 100 knots. Manual braking. 80 knots. See if we can make this exit. 60 knots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dubrovnik. Finally! Took some time, but we made it. Flaps up. And a nice short taxi on to stand. I'm trying my absolute hardest to get this APU started. There we are. Well, we got here. I hope you enjoyed the approach as well, which is what the whole idea of the stream was. I think Split was a nice little, you know, recovery sector split to Dubrovnik just to cover the approach briefing there. Felt a little bit rushed, but didn't have much choice really. Otherwise, would be flying to Dubrovnik forever. Oh yes, the Game of Thrones set. Yeah, I forgot they've had that in Dubrovnik. IPUs should be starting anytime soon here. It says 732 now. I'm going to go a little bit beyond it because it stops way before the air bridge. So you'll see it says 2-1 stop, but that's going to be an issue. So we're going to keep going. Try and get it lined up. Ah, look at that. We'll bring it to a stop there. Excellent. So, parking brake is set. APU's available. 2 blues, 1 red. Engines are dead. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dubrovnik. There we are, here it's spooling down. We made it. Oh, we made it in 2.5 hours. Not bad actually if you think about it. I think if we'd stayed on FlyJSim it would have been probably a similar amount of delays. So, we got there. Those sounds are awesome. Good. All alpacas intact, Captain. Thanks. Hooksters eventually got there. Ah, that was very frustrating, but these things do happen in Sims, they do happen. Excellent, lucky number 3, absolutely Steve. 3rd time lucky to get down there. Firing to auto brakes, I think it was on the minimum setting, worked out perfectly. Not quite a butter, no. Sounds spot on, very impressed by Bodybuilder Muscle Chat, very impressed with sounds. Blue, fantastic flight, very enjoyable to watch, thanks buddy. You learned something new about the approach as well. Beard Char says, not that bad on time actually, would have taken roughly the same without the crashes. Good job. Well, yeah, I think, well, no, we would have been probably down a little bit sooner. So original airborne time was 16:30 in 1800. Yeah, we actually, you know what? I'm trying to work that out. We were airborne originally when it crashed at 30 minutes, probably 30 minutes later than it would have been. We managed to make Mitch, I said not that bad yet. I've just read that one. D8 Simulations, where do you get your Zebo livery? If you have a look at any of my Zebo live streams, keep a close eye on chat. I can guarantee you, usually within the first 10 minutes of the stream, someone's asked for that command to get the link there. So that's the best way to find out there. Base Leg Bob says, my martini spilled. I'm sorry to hear that. Jacob Gabably says, I'm happy. Great. Very good. John Pavel, 10 out of 10 with double crash again. Fantastic. Right then, well, that's that. Let's turn the music down here, turn the music down there. I'm sure you guys are itching to see those buckets deploy on another funky music replay. Alright, let's get that all set up. Now, that's loud. Oh my goodness me. God, can't take it. 41 minutes, well done X-Plane 11. Usually I always say it's lasted for 4 hours, but not today. Right, let's have a look at the butter there. Yeah, it was nicely done with the circle, worked out quite nicely. Those sounds updates sound good on this aircraft, especially on the flight past it. So deafen you slightly. Panky tape butter landing, close enough, close enough. So yeah, in pitch and roll, the controls feel very laggy in the FlyJSim. I don't think it's quite so laggy in real life, but yeah, it works. It works. So, you know, the flight controls move very slowly. There's the buckets. Look. There we are. Nice. No bounce though, it's quite easy to bounce this. God, you can hear it from here. Look at the exhaust. Very cool. Get from the point where we vacate, my new favourite replay is away from touchdowns in. So, don't make it off. The size of the vertical stabilizer is still massive, so massive in this perspective of the 737. There we are. Buckets deployed, speed brakes up, ground support is up. The host goes, my wife and I take a shot every time we say excellent. Excellent. Should play FlyJSim bingo. That's braking hard not to make the exit. Good. Right, well, I'll turn it down here once we jump back into the wing view, otherwise you'll all get different. But guys, that's another successful FlyJSim live stream. Well, I say successful, a lot of problems, but at least it concluded successfully. I hope you enjoyed the sector from, well, what should we say, from Split to Dubrovnik, but originally from Nuremberg. Yeah, these things happen. I don't think there's anything I can do to fix these X-Plane issues. They happen from time to time. But thank you all for your patience whilst I got round to fixing it and making it all working again. But as ever, thank you to everyone that donated, to everyone that is a member, thank you so much for the continued support as well, and to all the regular viewers, thank you so much for stopping by to come in and watch. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest content. Might do something on ETS2, if not tonight, probably tomorrow evening. If not then, I'll won't be going live again, doing something for the members this weekend, but next week will be the next public live stream on this channel. I hope to release a video on Thursday, so keep your eyes peeled on that. I've got something in my mind to release there. But guys, as ever, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon. Enjoy the buckets on the replay. Bye bye for now.